Hello, everyone. Get started here. Wearing my quail shirt. Hi, Gutros Urban Homestead, Time and Timber, Bolster Farms. Yes, this is my very first live, and thank you for joining. Haven't done one of these before, so see how it goes. My mom's here. Hi. So I thought I'd start this out by just kind of talking about if you guys have any questions, let me know if you have questions. Oh, Folster Farms. I remember who you are now. I gotta remember names versus YouTube names. So yes, good to meet everybody that I met at QuailCon. So yeah, awesome. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask away. Tomorrow's video is about getting the most meat off of a rabbit. So I wanted to release these rabbit videos now. Thank you, Foster Farms. I wanted to release the rabbit videos now because I know a lot of people are getting into rabbits, and I want you guys to have the confidence to know what to do with it once you have your harvest. So there's going to be a few more of those for your benefit. Yeah, thank you. The logo, one of my friends did it, and I think she's awesome, and I think that her logos are awesome. So she did a great job. Any questions? No? We have 5 people on here, so that's good. Good for first live. What rabbits do I have? So rabbits that I have are the my buck is a Californian, so he's white with the black ears and the black nose and the black, feet and tail. And then I have a black New Zealand, and here's what the shirt says. I have a black New Zealand, and so she's black everywhere. And then right now I have one of their babies is not a baby anymore, but one of their daughters is the other breeder. So she is a mixture of Californian and black New Zealand, but she looks exactly like a Californian. And my understanding is Californian is actually a mix of different breeds, and I don't actually know what the mixture is, but yeah, she looks just like that. And the black one, the black New Zealand, she will have kits is what they're called. She will have kits that are black like her, and she'll have them that look like the dad, looks like Californian. So she'll have both. And so far, their daughter only has had ones that look like her and her dad. So look like Californian. So our buck is Parmesan is his name, and the black New Zealand is Tortellini, and their daughter is Meatball. They came with the names. I got them from someone who was finishing up 4-H, so they're good bunnies. American Heritage meat rabbits. Folster Farm has satin crosses. So are they soft? Folster Farm? Are they Mandy? Right? You don't want to say if you don't want me to say your name, tell me. Yes, they are cheesy names. Yes, so satin, I'm assuming it would be soft. Are they softer than other rabbits, like significantly? Yeah, I'd be curious to know that, because rabbits they're already soft. Gidros, I had your name correct earlier. Gidros, Urban Homestead. We recently did a rabbit video, and I linked you since you did such an in-depth video on piecing them out. We only covered skinning. Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Any way people can share the channel and share the knowledge is much appreciated. there's going to be two. So tomorrow's video is how to get the most meat off of the rabbit, and that is part 1. And so that's going to be how to get it off the bone. And then the second one is going to be probably next week, and that is how to get the most meat off of the remaining carcass. And then I have another one that's going to be on rendering the fat. So if you guys are interested in that, that's good. Yeah, so Mandy says, yes, amazing soft, very deep blue color as well. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm not familiar with many of the breeds. I know their names more than anything of rabbits. And so the names, I know what names are a meat rabbit, and I know what they look like. Obviously, you know it if you see it. But I'm not familiar with, this is better at that and this is better at this. I know that some are better for pelts than others. I'm just not familiar with that. I'm familiar with the ones I have. So you can never have too many videos on butchering. Thank you. You're looking forward to seeing the video. Yeah, I actually filmed not the dispatching, but I filmed the processing once you've cut the head off. And I haven't done anything with that video. I'm kind of nervous to post that. I think it would be fine, but I don't want to get dinged before I get started in YouTube. So maybe I need some confidence in that. If anybody has done, I guess Gidros, you've done butchering stuff. Does YouTube care? Yeah. Oh, you grind the meat. Gidros. Yeah. So grinding, we did actually get a meat grinder, and we didn't use it for anything yet. We thought about doing it, but then I wanted to can a bunch, and it canned up really nice. I have a video on that too. And canned up really nice. I also did I breaded and fried some and it's in the freezer, so it's kind of like orange chicken is what the idea behind that was, is that we would have something that we could have that was cooked already, thaw out, add some sauce, put it in the oven, and call it good. So we did that with it, and then just parted out a bunch. So yeah. So when you grind your meat, I feel like I'm talking really fast. Am I talking really fast? When you grind your meat, do you add any fat to that meat? Like, what do you use it for? You use it for hamburgers and meatballs and that kind of thing, or something else? Because I would think that you would need a little bit of fat in that. Thank you. Okay, American Heritage was the go-to rabbit before New Zealand. Okay. New Zealand took over from German Heritage. Got it. Oh, after the fur coat industry died. Thank you, Verna. Hi. Yeah, I don't know. I painted this room because of the chairs that I bought before I even had a house, and they were green. So that's why my living room is green. Let's see. We do actual cervical dislocation off camera. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, and when did you do that one, Gidros? Yeah, I want to see it. I haven't seen it. I wonder if I'm not subscribed. I need to subscribe to yours. Cool. Yeah, so I did render the fat. It is not as good as like a pig fat or like a green room. Going to be famous. You already have a green room. Yeah, I prepped for that, right? Well ahead of time. Yeah, so the fat that is rendered, I think I overcooked it just a little bit, but not too bad. Because it's not white, but it's not brown. It's just an off-white. And it's close. The closest thing I can think of that it tastes like is like chicken fat. Like if you skim the chicken fat off of a soup or something, and cook with that. I don't know if anybody does that except for me, but I do that. Then yeah, that's the closest, but it's different than that. So you have to watch the video. Oh, you don't add fats if you're just cooking it. Okay, so sausage would. I do not know anything about rabbit sausage. That would be interesting. Have you made that? That'd be interesting. I'm buffering a lot. Is anybody else having buffering issues? Let me know. Everything looks good on my end, but you never know. Maybe try reloading. That might also help. No buffering. Verna, try reloading and see what happens. Hopefully that helps. So anyway, so what have you guys been doing since QuailCon? I want to see what you guys are doing. Anybody buy eggs from my shire? And I'm assuming everybody's is hatching or have hatched. They're pretty young right now, right? All right. So Verna, hopefully you can fix the buffering by reloading. You just got done hatching today. Awesome. I came back and my goal was to, when I came back from QuailCon, my goal was to breed the rabbits and then also take that week and collect eggs to do quail. And I was wanting to do the jumbo quail. Well, I did not actually connect up the light to my jumbo aviary. I did connect the light up to the egg layers. So I just decided to wait until the jumbos were breeding again. So I'm going to be doing that soon. And then it was too hot to breed the rabbits. So I just did that this last weekend. So yeah, hopefully Foster Farms, hopefully your babies are doing good. I'm sure they are. Good start. To get the white rendered fat, Verna says, to get the white rendered fat, you should just do belly fat. Okay, so I'm wondering, is that like leaf lard versus other lard, like in pigs, if it would be different? I might try that and do it separately and see if that works. Maybe I'll save the fat from this year that way. I was thinking about that, and then I just put it all in the same bag. So that is a good point, Verna. Thank you. Official hatch QuailCon eggs, 150 out of 180. That is awesome. That is awesome. Very cool. I love that. I'm sure you love that too. Oh, buffering's done. Awesome. We got about 69% rate. That is also very good. Very good. Yeah, I did not do QuailCon eggs. I was in the airplane. Verna had about 20 birds to call. Yeah, you need to make room. Lucy can help you with that. I think she can help you with that. You don't let her help you with that, I'm sure, but that's a lot. I hope you can get it done in a couple days and get them in the freezer. Sounds awesome. So I did end up putting light on the jumbo aviary. So I will be, the light was already there. I just didn't plug it in. Like it's silly. It's a sad excuse, but I will be collecting eggs. I think I'm going to wait until next week to collect them, because then I'll make sure that they're going to be fertilized, and then I'll be hatching eggs from then for meat. So yeah. One more exciting thing, I got my small egg handlers, small egg producers registration form in. So I have no idea how long that will take for them to get back to me, but I'm hoping it will. I'm hoping they'll get back to me sooner rather than later, so I can offer my eggs up to restaurants and go to farmers markets and, all that fun stuff. What market are you trying to get to with quail? Yay! So what I would like to do, I have several goals. I have big goals. Those of you that were at QuailCon will understand that goals are big for everybody. You need big goals. Lucy isn't allowed. Yes. So yeah, my goals with quail are, I would like to be able to sell eggs. My first goal was enough that they would cover their own costs. And I was getting pretty close to that until pandemic shut down, and I could no longer go to volleyball, and the people that went there are no longer going there. All of them. Some of them are going, some people haven't gone back. So I've lost a lot of business just by location and circumstances outside of my control. But I would like to get a restaurant involved, and then I would also like to work with crafts. So I have some ideas for some crafts that I can do and make and sell. At like there's a craft fair downtown this weekend that I didn't even know about, and so I talked with I stopped by and I talked with the city person that was there, and she gave me a lot of good information. And once I get my paperwork, I can, once I get that that stuff back, I can go forward with that. So my goal is to use their feathers, the eggshells, so the feathers, I could do crafts. I have lots of ideas for crafts. I can sell to fisher people, so fly fishermen. And I would also, I have a bunch of skulls in my freezer, both rabbit and quail. And I am going to experiment with the best way to remove everything from the skull. And you guys will see that. And I have some ideas of how to do that. And then I would like to get that involved with some people that do steampunk. So if you don't know what steampunk is, it's, well, look it up. They have skulls involved often. So yeah. Oh, Halloween is coming up. That's also good bull market. Yes. So Verna said something earlier. What did she say? Waiting for my cabbie to have a litter. I have a whole 3-tier empty. Awesome. Hopefully she has more than 2 babies inside of her. So those that don't know, cabbie, am I saying that right? They're guinea pigs. That's the official name. Not guinea pigs. So cabbie. And she has a pregnant one, at least one, maybe 2. So good luck. And I agree with Zach. Go sit in their office all day, take a lunch, and it scares them. Yeah. So I just turned it in. And so I kind of don't know what a reasonable amount of time is to wait to hear back. And this is California, and I have a feeling that it's going to take longer than I want it to. I tried calling them before because I had a question, and they never call back. So they're in Sacramento. So that's, at least it's not, I mean, that's like 3 hours away. It's not close, but it's not, hugely far. Your aviary video inspired us to want to make one. Awesome. Question: how often do hens go broody? I know it's rare, but not impossible. So I have only had it successfully hatch broodiness. That's odd sentence. Once. So when I had 5 quail, I had 4 females and 1 male, and all 4 females actually sat on the nest. So all 4 went broody. At first it was just 1, and then the other 2 kind of helped out. And then it got to the point where, they had shifts. And so they were actually sitting on shifts. And then when we would call it lockdown, that is when that last mama, she sat down, and she sat down hard on it. She was locking it down. So I have a feeling that the humidity level did rise based on just, skin contact with the eggs. I would guess that rose naturally anyway. We increase our humidity in our incubators. I'm going to assume that is actually what actually happens in nature, just from them sitting on it, because she did not get off the nest. And she is who the baby, I would say, referred to as mom. It was definitely different than the other ones, different relationship. So how many times has that happened? In, let's say, a year and a half, I've had that happen twice in one aviary. Twice? I think only twice. And one was successful and one was not. And then once in the other aviary, and that one was also not successful. So in a year and a half, twice, but one of them was no, 3 times. It was 3 times in the first aviary. So I don't know. You can do the math. Things that, if you're trying to get them to go broody, things that I would try is not collecting your eggs. So on all of the times that this happened, I had not gone out and collected eggs. And so if you don't collect them for a day or two, you might find that they're sitting on them. And you can tell a difference if they're just sitting on them and sleeping, or if they're sitting on them because they'll puff out and put their wings out over the eggs, and they fluff up their feathers to, I think, probably do more heat. So I hope that helps what you're asking. It's not impossible. It's definitely something that I think the other part is I think they need to feel safe. So if you're going in and out and they're used to you going in and out, then they feel safe. If they're kind of a hands-off person and you don't want to do much with your quail, and then you decide, oh, today I'm going to go in, but I'm not going to go in for a week, and then I'll go in, like, I would imagine that would be disruptive and probably wouldn't feel safe. So I also have the shade cloth up, so the other predators, they can't see as well. So I think they need to feel safe, and then it helps if they, have eggs to sit on when they're broody. They have extra eggs from the night before. Anyway, I hope that's kind of all over the place, but I hope that helps. Everybody's saying hi, Jasmine. Hi, Jasmine. Halloween is coming up. Good skull market. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to make it for this Halloween because I have lots to do, but I can try. Steampunk, yay! Yeah. Have you considered the dried wings for dog training? I want to do that eventually. Yes. So I actually Googled like every part of the bird. And actually, I did give a friend of mine quail feet for her dog, and her dog loves them. So that is those were frozen. I didn't dry them or anything. And yeah, so the wings, I've looked online and it's ridiculous. So people are selling these things for, well, I don't know if they're selling them. They're charging $8 for a pair. I don't know if they're actually getting it. I think that's a little high, unless that, covers shipping to somewhere across the country or something. But yeah, so dog training, crafting, and all sorts of stuff you can use for dog training. I'm also wanting to do, with the rabbit foot keychains, and I want to do a rabbit tail on like a stick with quail feathers for a cat toy. I thought that would be something that people would want. So giving away all my ideas, guys. Let's see. Cavi or Kui? Kui, I think, is what I'd heard before. Thank you, Verna. That's for the proper names for a guinea pig is Cavi or Kui. Freeze-dried heads, wings, and feet make good dog treats. Yes, Verna was feeding Lucy and I think other dogs some quail heads that were freeze-dried at QuailCon. So that's a great option if you have freeze dryer. I do not. Freeze-dried wouldn't dissolve. Oh, Verna. Folster Farms is asking you a question. I don't think it would dissolve. She feeds them crunchy, so like it's just kind of powdered. It would kind of disintegrate in the dog's mouth because dogs don't hold things in their mouth; they crunch. Good Euros says we do the rabbit foot and tail keychains. We dry the ears for dog treats. Our dogs love the ears. Yes, I also have the ears in the freezer. I haven't done anything with them. I have all 5 parts in the freezer from all last year. Now, I have heard something from a neighbor because I asked about the ears, and she said that they are high in fat, and for dogs that are on diets, they might not um, want to have them. I have no idea if that's true or not, but I have not looked into that. Have you looked into that, Good Rose? I'd be interested to hear that, but I know that they would love them. I mean, they'd love eating the whole rabbit if they could. Good idea for a cat toy. Too lazy to. Yeah, things are still in the freezer. Did I say that? Yeah. No, they don't dissolve. Okay. And don't crumble. Those are the quail heads. Only a farm girl could relate to body parts in the freezer. You know, I'm a biologist. I'm a wildlife biologist, and I've been to many a party where people pull interesting things out of the freezer. So it's I guess farm and biologists. Yeah, there's been some pretty interesting parties. If you have dehydrator, you can pop the ears in there. Yeah, I haven't checked about fat, but I think they'd be fine if it's just a treat, not a daily thing. Yeah, that was my opinion. I don't know what on there would be fatty. I think maybe it's more, cartilage than fat, but I have not studied rabbit ears. Thought that was interesting. So, hey, if you're enjoying this, hit the like button. We have 4 likes and 10 people. Yay! Thanks for showing up, by the way. I appreciate it. I'm going to try and do this. Oh, thank you. Try and do this with my goal for these. I believe is going to be kind of conversation like we're doing right now at the beginning, and then have something topic driven, and then kind of an open conversation at the end. But I think the first few I'm just going to do like this just to get used to it. Okay, something else on here. Have you done anything with pelts yet? Quail pelts, no, they're in the freezer. Rabbit pelts, I have started pickling them, and I have done it in inopportune times for me. And they didn't get stirred, and they went bad. So that was bad on me, and I felt really bad about it because I don't like to waste things like that. But I plan on pickling them, which is basically tanning them with alum and salt in water. So I haven't followed through, which I need to. Have you done pelts? Is the question. Go look at how to build a solar dehydrator for ears, etc. Yeah, I know, like for fruit dehydrators, you can do that. I could put it in my car. Have you guys seen the cooking in the car videos? I wonder how well that would work. I have a neighbor that dries fruit in her car. Keeps the windows a little bit open. We could do experiments all the time, guys. Hey, my dad's here. Hi. Dusty's a doggy. Loves all parts of the rabbits. Yum. Well, if she comes, we can give her heads and feet and things. Come visit. Verna says, good thing about the freeze dryer is that as the dog chews them, their saliva would rehydrate it, so it's still considered raw food. Yeah, it's frozen food. It's just frozen dry food. So I think that's it's raw. So it's awesome. Awesome that you can do that and have raw food that is preserved. So you don't have to have everything in your freezer. You're finding all sorts of uses for that, I think, probably, Verna. I think I have a great presence and we'll do great. Oh, you think I have a great. Thank you. You're having fun. Yay. We like to have fun. I appreciate it. Any comments are good. Gidru says, I have a bunch of rabbit furs in the freezer. Yeah, I'm hoping we can work on them this winter. Scared to mess them up. Yeah, that's kind of where I was. Is I had a bunch in the freezer, and then I needed freezer space, and needing freezer space did not align with me being home much. Like I had a work trip, and then I had another thing that I had to go on. So that's that didn't line up for me. The second time I did it, it was I actually skinned it and put it right into the bucket, and then I had to leave for another work thing. So yeah, need to do better on that. Good luck on yours. Let me know how it goes for sure, because I'm interested. I'm interested to see how it goes. The car works really well. Yes, I have. No chase. I don't know what you mean. No chase. No chasing the rabbits? No, you're not gonna have her chase live rabbits. Yeah. And Jasmine says, do you prefer rabbit bone broth or quail bone broth? I like them both. I actually did one that was both of them together, and that actually worked really well. And so I don't have a preference because I think I do different things with them. I know, Jasmine, this time in timber, I know that when you make your bone broth, you add vegetables and stuff to it to make it more like a full flavored broth. When I make mine, I don't add anything to it so that I can add whatever I need to make whatever I'm making later. So it's more like an ingredient canner with that than a full-bodied broth. So I'm assuming that the broths that you make are probably better in flavor by themselves than the broths that I have, just because you have those extra ingredients in them. But then I add the extra stuff as, as whole foods, as chunks later into the soup. So I don't know. You have a favorite? Oh, Verna says, yep. To me, it was something safely experiment with. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Mary, which is my mom, says you need a mobile pelt processing bucket for your car. I don't know that would work. A pelt processing bucket for my car? So the process for pickling the pelts, it's called pickling because alum is used. So it is basically you take an amount of, I don't remember what the amounts are, but an equal amount of alum and salt that's non-iodized, and put them in a warmish bucket of water just to get things dissolved. And then you put the pelts in there and submerge them, stir them around, make sure everything's saturated, and then put something on top of that to make sure they stay submerged. And then you're supposed to stir it every day. And it's the stirring every day that I didn't do. And so what that accomplishes is it gets all the air pockets, because you're going to have air pockets because there's fur in there anyway. So I don't know about doing it in a car. That sounds like it might be a little weird. Folster Farm says, I love them both. We can everything. Yes. Yeah, both are good. The bone broth is what we're talking about. And yeah, it's good to can everything. You do need a pressure canner if you're going to be canning broth. And so just keep that in mind. But yeah, canning is great. And I have lots of canning videos. If you guys haven't seen them. Ew, Folster Farms. That's probably in reference to the mobile pelt thing. Verna says freeze-dried bone broth is great. Once you make it, you skim off the fat after it sits in the refrigerator overnight, then run through the freeze dryer and have quail bouillon. And that sounds wonderful, because a quart of broth takes up this much space, and a quart of of powder takes up much smaller space. So I think that's wonderful. And then you can do it to the thickness that you want or the flavorfulness that you want. I think, Verna, you have a winner, and since you got your freeze dryer. Car pickling. How many days do you keep the pelts in the buckets? So my understanding is, based off of the videos that I've watched, is it's about 7 days for the first step. Then you take it out and basically get all the connective tissue off of it. So any of that tissue needs to come off. Then you add more alum and more salt into the same bucket, and then do it for another, I think it's 7 days or 10 days, something like that. And then once it's there, then you take it out and wash it, shampoo it, and then it goes through the drying and stretching process to break the leather. So it's quite involved. It takes at least 2 weeks of time in the bucket, and then after that, I'm not sure how long the drying and stretching and breaking of the leather takes, but I would imagine it's probably another week. So I would think that you would need 3 weeks to do it that way. I know there's other ways to do it with, I've seen it where you put egg on it or with salt, and I just chose to do the other way. And if you've done it with the egg and salt, that'd be interesting to hear about. Time and Timber says, nice. I haven't used rabbit bones for broth yet. Usually they good to raw food blend for the dogs. Yeah. So what I do when I do the bone broth, and I know you know this, Jasmine, probably other people on here know too, but I'll say it anyway. When you make the bone broth, it should be 24 to 48 hours is what you would do if it was on the stovetop. That's kind of the time it takes for all the good stuff to come out of the bones. What I do is I put it into my pressure cooker, and I have a New Wave, which is it's like an Instapot, but it's bigger. It's 13 quarts. So I can make a lot at once. So I save the bones up and then do it all at once, make a big batch. And when I do that, usually I do it twice through. So I'll set it for 3 hours in pressure cooker, and then get the liquid off of that, add more water to what's already there. And you add water and apple cider vinegar. And what the apple cider vinegar does is it helps to get the minerals out of the bone, so into the broth. And so I do it twice. And that second broth is much thinner, but it's still worth doing. I have tried doing it 3 times, and 3 times is not worth it. So once it's gotten to that point, though, I actually feed the bones to my animals. I feed them to my quail, my chicken, because, I mean, they're to the point that you can squish them. And all it is then is basically a bunch of calcium that, I mean, they love. They eat it up, and it might seem weird to some people, but yeah, that's my process for bone broth, and it's a kind of a no waste process there. Okay. Verna says 6 quarts of bone broth makes 1 pint. Awesome. That is such a space saver, especially you're in an apartment, so that's especially nice. Freeze dryer for the win. Good investment for sure. Yeah, I put down a down payment for one, and I haven't paid on it since because I have other things I want to put my money towards. But Harvest Guard is canning lids. Harvest Right is basically, it's the only brand that you can have for home use, and they have a layaway program. So I started that, and that locks you in for $250. It locks you in at a price, and that price doesn't change. And if the technology gets better, you get the better technology, even though you did it however long ago you put down your down payment. So that's worth doing a down payment, I think, and then working on it periodically throughout. So can you combine different things in the freeze dryer at the same time? Yes. Verna is the expert on that. So she says, as long as you don't mix what is already frozen to what is room temp. So, and basically what I've seen to that is that you, and Verna can correct me, that you generally want to put like moistures with like moistures. So you wouldn't put like green beans with watermelon, because it's going to take you super long to do the green beans because the watermelon's not done. So that would be, And there's different trays that you put things on. So that would be my one input, not having done it, but Verna can confirm that for me or not. Folster Farms, our chickens love bones too. Good use, waste nothing. Yeah. Yeah, so you can feed bones to your chickens and your quail. They just need to be not pokey, right? They need to not lodge in their throat. So once you've done the bone broth, it's going to be, when I'm done with it, it's squishy. So I could take it and break the bones. Like, it doesn't even break, it just squishes. So that's ideal. Waste nothing. Yeah, four shelves and trays. Each tray can hold whatever. Yeah. Gidrose says, we don't normally make bone broth, but it's something we want to do. Bones usually go to our pigs. So you can still feed the bones to your pigs, but you can get all the goodness for yourself off of it first. I mean, if you just run it through once, if you have a pressure cooker or if you have like a big roaster, the best way to do it is to roast the bones first, like in the oven, roast it in there for like 40 minutes. And that will, everything's better when it's cooked on the outside, right? That will bring the flavors up in your bone broth, and then put it in with the liquid, and go from that. So, yeah, that's how I do it. And then you can still feed your pigs. Vernon says, I don't pay attention to that rule. I haven't had problems really. Good. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if it's a rule or not. It's something that I think I heard somewhere, but I don't really know from where. So I may be wrong. Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's already 6:42. We're talking. You guys are awesome. Making the conversation flow. So who planted a fall garden already? Are you guys all in winter areas? I think you guys are all in winter areas. Everybody that's commenting, at least. There are some people on here that are not commenting. Feel free to comment. I have not done a fall garden yet. Are you guys planning anything this year? Are you guys doing indoor? Talking to my mom, Mary, in Oregon. Because you can do indoor salad. I know you guys eat a lot of salad. No. So there is a way, if you guys are in cold areas that have winter, you can literally buy a potting mix and like lay it down flat and then cut open the top, plant lettuce seeds in it, and you'll have salad all winter long. It's super easy, and I haven't done it, but I haven't needed to because we have different greens here during the winter that I can eat, like the tree collard that is here permanently. So I might try that this year. Folster says, I did, but the sheep ate everything when they broke into the garden. So you're growing a garden of sheep. That's nice. Did they at least trade the goods for fertilizer? Verna says, it is advisable, Katrina, I grab whatever to fill up the last tray. Yeah, because you don't want to run it half empty. I'm talking about the freeze dryer there. Gidrose says, well, we're in Louisiana, so it's still hot. Yeah, we have a cool front coming in. High tomorrow, 87. Yeah, so when I came back from QuailCon, I was like, okay, these are the things I'm going to do. I'm going to breed the rabbits. I'm going to do the start collecting eggs for the meat quail, and I'm going to plant fall garden. Well, we were up in the 90s the other day, so I'm thinking maybe next week we can plant a fall garden. It's going to be I have to look up what my last frost date is. I forget what it is, or first frost date. I forget what it is. I think it's November something, but it's okay. You can protect things. Yeah. Verna says, I'm going to plant garlic tomorrow, no matter what. In another week or two, I will harvest my sweet potatoes. Awesome. Yeah, garlic. The garlic that I harvested is still on the screen and porch. I've been going out there and getting it. And then some of them are in the ground. The ones that were really little, I don't know if you guys saw that video or not, but the ones that were really little, I just kept in the ground thinking, okay, it's going to grow next year. And then these ones in the porch, I'm going to use some of those. November is when we're supposed to plant garlic where I am in Gilroy, which is garlic city, right? Garlic capital. If you don't have garlic yet, Territorial Seeds is a really good place to get them from. They do a really good job there out of Oregon. Sweet potatoes. I'm interested to see. So you did container sweet potatoes, right, Verna? I'm interested to see how big they are, how big they got, and if you've been eating the greens, because the greens are edible. Fulster says collards and turnip greens for the win. Yeah, so collards, I have a purple tree collard that I've had for years. It took over my front yard. It became a bush. And then I cut it all out, and I always have baby collards come up. So I've been eating off of those ones right now. And I haven't done turnip greens, but the beet greens I enjoy. So beet greens and chard. Those are really good plants for here. Verna needs more coffee. Gidro says, I put a few things in for fall, so I'm just crossing my fingers that it doesn't get hot again. Yeah. Planning on doing some leaf lettuce and green stock because I paid a stupid amount for lettuce today. Yeah. I can't pay for lettuce and stuff like that. It doesn't make any sense to me. Just like I can't pay for cantaloupe. I mean, I haven't grown a successful cantaloupe this year, but in previous years I've grown some cantaloupes, and homegrown cantaloupe is so different, not a fall crop, summer crop, so different than store-bought. And the store-bought ones just are not good anymore. Yeah, so you have a green stalk too. Yeah, I have two green stalks. One is has strawberries, and so that will just continue to have strawberries. And the other one has peppers. So I got that one because peppers take so dang long to come up from seed. So I figured I can trim them back and put them into the screened-in porch and protect them, and then roll them out when the temperatures get better and have, fruit a lot sooner. So that was my plans with those. I am enjoying my green stalks. The one adjustment I would make if green stalk asked me is that I would have some sort of lid to put over the water basin on the top, because when the eucalyptus tree in the neighbor's yard has those little fuzzies, they get everywhere. I'm afraid it's going to get plugged. Fulster says feed them to the rabbits too. Yeah, I would like to, I am somewhat working on a list of plants that rabbits can eat. And I know a lot of the books that I've gotten are very much, you can do it, and very lacking on what foods they can actually eat, like what weeds they can eat. Like I know dandelion is good. I know mint has potential issues when I've heard. Excuse me. Thank you. Mint has potential issues for affecting pregnancy, is what I've heard, but I haven't actually seen anything like on paper documented that that's the case. So I have a goal of doing more research with that. So anything you guys already know, send it my way. And we'll share everything at the end. Verna says, Katrina, I haven't been able to eat any of the sweet potato greens. Oh, as the quail and the cabbie get them instead. Yeah, since I don't have garden, I'm limited how much I can grow. Yeah, but that's something that it's a cut and come again, right? So sweet potato greens, you can cut it and eat it, or cut it and feed it to your animals, and it just grows back. So, and plus, when you're harvesting, you can keep one of them and put them in a glass and make more. And you'll have starts for the next season, and you can eat your sweet potatoes. So that's pretty cool. Grow bags. Yeah. Thank you. Bored you. I'm going to guess it's a typo. Thank you. Yeah. So that's something I want to work on is for rabbits. And I think for feeding quail, it's much like feeding chickens. I kind of know what chickens are and are not supposed to eat, and it's fairly much the same for quail. So I think autocorrect. So I think that's kind of okay in my mind. It's the rabbits, and I know with all the food prices and stuff. I did go and get layer crumble at the feed store today, and it did not change in price, so that makes me happy. It's still $20 for a 50-pound bag of layer crumble, but and that's up from a year ago. But I was afraid to go in there, and I was thinking that it was going to be $2 more again, but it wasn't. So yeah, with all the food for, I've gone to the feed store and they haven't had layer crumble, and I've gone to the feed store and they haven't had rabbit food. And that's been within the last at the beginning of the summer, that's when that happened. And so I had to, go to Tractor Supply and get something that they're not used to eating, and it was fine. But yeah, it was an interesting thing to go, oh, well, what could I feed my rabbits if I didn't have the feed store? And rabbits are actually something that you can feed. You can feed them a lot of things that are natively found, or a lot of things out of the garden. I don't know if I know some of you saw it, but one of the videos we did a long time ago when we had a bad camera, was a pet rabbit that showed up in the yard, and it had been dumped, but it was eating all sorts of things. I grow saffron, and it was eating the saffron leaves. So there's a lot of things that I think people don't know they can eat. I don't know if it's good for them or not, but it was eating it. So anyway, that's something that I would like to increase my knowledge on. And Verna says that rabbits and cavi eat the same things. Yeah, that makes sense. Is there, Verna, is there a book, like a source that you found for food for those guys? Or are you pretty much putting that together with what you can find about rabbits? Mary, my mom, says wild hares and rabbits here eat whatever we plant. Yes. So they are in the high desert where there is sagebrush and juniper trees. And there's actually a rabbit. There is a pygmy rabbit that lives in sagebrush and is a sagebrush obligate. The rabbit's adult size is like that big, a little head, little blunt tail, and their poops are the size of the adult poops are the size of baby cottontail poops. But they actually, I've seen them up in the sagebrush eating the sagebrush leaves. So they will eat your garden and sagebrush. Gidro says, I know they have some good books on feeding forage to rabbits, but I always stick to the pellets. I'm worried about upsetting their stomachs. Yeah, Gidros, if you have any titles, I'd be interested in titles of the books, because the ones that I have found, I'm thinking I might have to go to stuff that was done over in England, because that is kind of where meat rabbits started. But if you have any titles, I would be interested in that, because a lot of our weeds are also from Europe. I said England. I meant Europe. Berna says quail, rabbits, and koi can eat sprouts. Yes. Yep. Use Google for what I don't know. Saint Google, as they call it, right? Yeah, Saint Google. That's good. Um, the thing to do, the thing about like different herbs and stuff is I always make sure to check 3 sources. And for herbs specifically, for people, like if you're making a tea or something, I always check what is the online medicine thing? WebMD, because they have a section for like interactions and stuff, and I thought that would be interesting. I thought that would be interesting just to check, and then I always check it against. If it's the older book I'm looking in, I look at a newer book to see if there's any advanced knowledge um, that people come up with. So I'm going to try and do the same thing for safety for rabbits eating. I don't know how well that will work. Foster says they can also eat duckweed and plantain. We feed a lot of it. Yeah, duckweed. Yeah, duckweed is a really good source of a lot of nutrients, actually. The one downside to that is that um, it accumulates metals, heavy metals. It's a heavy metal accumulator. So if you do have heavy metals in your water or in the pond or in whatever, then it does accumulate that. So I don't know how much duckweed they would have to eat to make it, accumulate to that point that it's a bad thing. But that is just something to know and have in the back of your mind. Beyond the Pellet is the one I see recommended the most. Yeah, I believe that is the one that I bought, and it basically was you can do it, and not necessarily a list of items they can eat. So I would maybe check that out from a library instead of buy it, and then if you find it helpful, then buy it. I believe that is the one I'm thinking of. It might be a different book, but yeah, a lot of those books are just they're inspirational and not necessarily like, hey, I have these weeds in my yard. What can my rabbit eat? So, yeah. I went to the library locally here. They don't have much on, well, they don't have much on anything with like homesteading stuff. So it looks like we have a couple minutes left. I'm going to try and keep these to an hour. And I am thankful for you guys for being here and for filling up an hour. That's awesome. I'm having fun with this, and I hope you guys are too. You don't have a local library. That sucks. Maybe check out your local 4-H or Future Farmers. Yeah, that's a good idea. I should do that. Yeah. But not having a local library, that sucks. Is there an online library that your county subscribes to, or that you can subscribe to online? That would be another thought for you, Gidros. I know you can't feed the greens of any plant of the nightshade family. Yeah. Yeah, nobody should be eating those. Not us, not the animals. Our water here is really pure. I forget sometimes the hazard of city water. Yeah. So city water, you basically, we get a report every year. Of course, by the time you get the report, you've already consumed the water. So, yeah, there's some interesting things that they add to water. Let's just say that. And there are some interesting concentrations of certain things that are allowed. So, yeah, if you are on city water, definitely look at that report. And I feel like I don't really know what I'm looking at because they say, oh, this is acceptable and this is not. And here's where we are. And I feel like I need to educate myself on that a little better because I know that what's acceptable, they are going off of what's acceptable for human consumption. So if you have, let's just say you have a pond that is reliant on or some hydroponics that is reliant on a bacteria to clean your system, and you have a really, really high amount of chlorine. Well, chlorine is built to kill bacteria. There's other things like that too. Then that's something that is not good for your system, which you wouldn't know based on that report and based on the safety ranges that they offer in there. So, yeah, city water is different. Gudra says our 3 libraries were destroyed. Oh, you're over there. I hope everybody's okay from this hurricane that's happening right now. I think it's hitting landfall here pretty soon, right? I hope everybody's okay. I know one friend that I checked in with today, and she's not in the direct path. So Mary says we get a report on our well water too. Okay, it's a shared well for the neighborhood. Do you get that on an annual basis? Time and Timber says, I have just been listening tonight, multitasking over here. I totally understand it. Congratulations on your first live. You did great and have a welcoming presence. Thank you, Jasmine. Got my like in. Genuinely enjoyed it. Awesome. Thank you, Jasmine. That means a lot. And Mary says, I think so. So yeah, it's an annual basis. That's what we get ours. I wish it was more often than annual, because they're testing it, more often than that. So Berna says, have a blessed night, everyone. Have a great night to you as well. I think we're gonna cut it there. I hope everybody enjoyed themselves, and we talked a lot about rabbits today, and I wore my quail shirt. Maybe I should have worn a rabbit shirt. So I appreciate you guys for hopping on here, and I hope that you enjoyed it and learned something and had fun. So hit your like on the way out if you haven't yet, and we'll see you next Monday. Thank you, guys. Good night.